Today's stream, we're going to be trying out the 1:10:60 animation challenge, which is basically trying to animate something in 1 minute, trying to animate it in 10 minutes, and then trying to animate it in 60 minutes. So we're going to see how that goes. The 1 and 10 minute ones are basically an excuse to just laugh at our animation, go, haha, it's so terrible. Why did I even try it? But it's 1 minute. It's like, it's half the fun is just to see how terribly we fail at it. And then the 60 minute is going to be actually like really trying to make this work. So for today's animation, I'm going to try a head turn. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's simple. So this is the character we're going to be animating. It's shoulders up, so I don't have to worry about a ton of details like fingers and body details. And since this is the first time I'm attempting this challenge, I figured I should take something that I'm not going to have to polish from like head to toe. I also wanted something where we can focus maybe a little bit on the face, so it's not just body mechanics. Just to see how fast we can go through there. The other thing with this challenge is that to make it fair, I've kind of set a few rules for myself. So if you're trying to do this yourself, always keep in mind this is just for fun. It's just to practice, and you're not going to be doing a demo reel shot with this challenge. It's just a way to practice and just kind of do something new and interesting. Now, a few of the rules that I set for myself on this challenge is I have to animate in splines. So I can't animate in stepped mode. The reason for this is with the 60-minute challenge, I'm going to be getting into splines. I'm definitely going to be getting there. And it's not a fair comparison if the 1 minute and 10 minutes are in step mode, which typically makes them look better, than the 60 minute, which is going to be in splines, which I might, like, we'll see how far it goes. Hopefully I'll have time to refine it a little bit, but I don't think it would be a fair comparison. So I'm going to stay in splines for the whole thing. That way we can have a better side-by-side comparison. The other thing is I've set up my scene already. So I've got my character in place, but on each of these animations, I am going to be starting from the default T-pose and working from there. So even like we do the 1 minute, I'm not going to take the 1 minute animation and then continue. I'm going to reset it. That way we're continually working from a blank canvas, make it a little bit more fair and even. I've set up my camera and kind of the set, but I'm not changing those as we animate. Once we start animating, it's all in the character, nothing else. Let's see. What else have I set up for myself here? Now I have shot reference. I will be going with kind of compared to some reference. I took some notes and stuff already beforehand. So let me find the reference here. Okay. So this is the reference we're going to be using. So this was just me doing a quick turn. There you go. Nothing super complex. Just a head turn with a little bit of body mechanics. I literally shot this like a few minutes before the stream and then did some quick analysis of what's going on. I'm going to use this as a base. I'm just going to put it on my other monitor, but I'm not going to try to copy it. It's really just there so I have some ideas of what's going on. I wanted a little bit of an expression change as well as a turn. So we've got reference, and we'll see how everything goes. Now, like I was saying earlier before the start of this, or when we first started the stream, this is going to be also a test of something that a lot of people have been requesting, which is focus streams. So focus streams are basically streams where instead of me talking and explaining my process, I'm just going to sit down and work. So I'm not going to mute myself just in case someone does have a very important question or if I notice something that I think would be a good topic. But I'm just going to stay quiet. I'm going to turn up the volume of the music so we can kind of just listen to that as I work. And it's just going to be me focused on the animation for that time slot. So the 1 minute, 10 minutes, and then the 60-minute. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if people are going to enjoy this or not. Just that like focused, not talking. I hope it'll be interesting just to kind of see the workflow as we go through it. But we'll see. It's an experiment. Normally I like to explain my process, so we'll see how it goes. You just watch. I'm going to just start monologuing as I go anyway, just because I'm used to it. So that's going to be the goal for today's stream. We'll see if it works. We'll see what happens. It's a bunch of experiments, but I hope it'll be interesting. I don't know what people are going to get out of it in terms of a learning experience, but it might just be fun to see me fail. I'm expecting failure in this, so we'll see how it goes. So I think with that, unless there's any questions, we can probably get started right here. First off with the 1 minute challenge. Let me actually bring up a timer here. Whoop. So we've got our timer. I'm ready to set it to 1 minute. And let's see. All I have to do is hit the reset button on here, and then I'll jump in. So let me actually, since I'm going to be doing a focus here, I'm going to explain my game plan. What I expect to happen. We'll see if it actually works out. But what I have here, so we're going to be doing the 1 minute challenge on this. My goal is to get 2 poses. If I can get 2 poses, that's animation. The poses are going to be super rough. I'm going to try to like 30 seconds on each one. The goal here is we have to animate a head turn. So that's going to be the big thing. Animate the head turn. And I also want to just get the body in a little bit more of a neutral position. I'm not a fan of arms just staying in their A pose there. So I'm probably going to focus on arms, head, and if I can, maybe a breakdown in the middle just to get some sort of an arc in the motion there. I also want to make sure that I get holds in here. So even though we're doing 1 minute, I do not want, and I'm going to show this as just an example here. What I do not want is a pose at the beginning and then the head turn at the end here. And when we play through it, it's just this. That's not going to be interesting, because part of animation is, or part of what makes a good and interesting animation is when characters don't move. When you've got to pause and then they turn and they pause. If it's just a slow rotation, that to me is not super great. So that's going to be the goal. We'll see how much it goes. So my goal with this, again, turn the head, get a pause, get the shoulders and arms in there just to kind of get a more neutral pose. I'm not going to care about appeal. I'm not going to care about line of action. I'm not going to care about the face. None of that. This is essentially just throwing everything in or just the very basics I need and getting it in there. So that's the goal. We'll see how much we can get in 1 minute. So with all of that said, I wish I had a drum roll. I didn't have enough time to set up like some sounds or stuff for this. So unfortunately, no fancy effects here. It's just going to be this timer starts. But we're going to do it anyway. So are you ready? Are we set? I really don't want to go, but go! Let's see if it actually works. Okay. Arms down, clavicles down. Let's see, let's turn that head, get in there, make sure I set a key. See, I'm talking, I wanted to focus, but explaining my process. Okay, so we've got that. Let's get the last key. The other thing, I forgot to mention this. I need to make each shot or each animation 48 frames. So I can't just key this. Let's put a hold here, then here, hold. Yeah, about there. Okay. And then just give a little time. No, no, no. Oh, phew. And time's up. Whew. I almost ruined the whole thing. I rotated it with I rotated with everything selected. That's the other thing. When the timer is done, regardless of if I make a mistake, that's it. Whew. I almost ruined it for myself. So I'm not going to do anything. Essentially what I wanted to do before everything went wrong, I just wanted to add a tilt to the head. So, yay, 1 minute. Wow, that was tough. Lots of beautiful animation that was created here. Let's see what we have. Oh, a thing of beauty. I think I've succeeded. I think I've surpassed myself, and I now have a demo reel ready piece. Let's actually, just for the sake of it, I'm just gonna do a play blast so we can save it. Exactly. I'm hired. I'm going to Disney with this shot. Let's let's do it a full size shot here. And we'll just play blast this as 1 min. Okay. So let's see what it looks like. It's so bad. It's essentially just technically 2 poses, 4 if I was like, or technically 4 poses, but really it's just 2. But we get that. There you go. Thing of beauty. So wonderful. I was hoping to get a little bit of motion in the body, but yeah, that didn't turn out. Okay, so that's 1 minute. Honestly, after that 1 minute, the 10-minute, I really don't know how much better it's gonna look. I don't think it's gonna be hugely better. Let's see, it would be nice to participate in these challenges with everyone here. I've been wanting to do that, where we can do kind of an animation challenge where everyone gets together and we animate something and then like we can review it afterwards. The main thing is trying to find a way to announce it in the ahead of time and kind of like, I don't know. I want to do it so it's kind of collaborative in a way, which would be really cool. But yeah, that's definitely something I do want to try at some point, which is another reason why I want to test these challenges to see how much I can expect. Yeah, and everyone would be using the same rig most likely. So I would be finding free rigs, so rigs that anyone can use, and we would use that. That way we're all kind of on a level playing field, and we can kind of troubleshoot if anything goes wrong with a rig more easily than if I'm using the Jules rig and someone's using the Dana rig and someone else is using like the Malcolm rig or something like that. But let's see. So I just saved the scene. We've got our 1 minute here. Let me unload the reference. So what I'm doing here is I referenced in 3 copies of the rig. And here's my reference editor right there. So that was the reference for the 1 minute. And instead of deleting my animation, I'm just loading in a new copy of the reference. So it's going to be totally fresh. And then I'm going to work from there. This way we can keep all of our animation and then compare later on, and I don't have to work in 3 different scene files. So if you want to try this challenge yourself, you can do it this way. So just reference in the same rig 3 times and then unload them or reload them here by hitting the check boxes. So we now have a fresh copy of the rig. Let me get my tablet working here. There we go. So this is going to be the 10 minutes challenge. So let me get my timer here. 10 minutes. Okay. And it's starting now. I'm not going to actually start now. I want to explain the process. So I'll hide it and then I'll just reset it afterwards. So we now have 10 minutes. We've seen what we can do with 1. And I'm going to have to change my game plan because 1 minute went by way faster than I thought. So for 10 minutes, I want to try and improve it. I don't want to just keep it super basic. As much as I could, so just like shoulders down, head turns over. If I have more time, I should be trying to make it better. So part of it is I'm going to try to get a very basic pose in the body. Very basic. Just trying to exaggerate the line of action so that from the upper area here, it just feels a little bit more dynamic. I also want to have a change in the body. And I want to see, we'll see if we can do this, see if we can get a basic expression pass in there. I doubt it, honestly. Actually, no. I think I'm gonna, if I have time, I'll do a basic expression pass. But instead, what I'm gonna focus on is trying to get some breakdowns in. So a little bit of a body pose, but then the majority is going to be trying to break it down and make the animation itself a little bit more interesting. I could pose out the face, but honestly, if the rest of the animation looks decent, it's going to be okay. If I put in the face, it's just going to slowly morph anyway, and it's not going to look good. So working on the face is kind of pointless at this point with the amount of time that we have. Okay, so I have no keys. I want to start evenly, so make sure everything's reset the way it was. So I think with that, we're pretty much ready to go. So again, I have a feeling the 10-minute one is going to end up looking worse than the 1 minute. Just because I have a feeling we're going to get like stuck halfway between something and it's not going to work. Like it's just going to be in the end. So we'll see how it goes. So with that, speed run. And Oyama, hello! You're just in time for the 10-minute challenge to begin. So I'm going to start the 10-minute challenge. I'll try to focus. I might talk as we go. We'll see. But yeah, we've gone over the game plan, so let's get to it. Bring back our timer. I'm going to reset it right now. So, all set. All ready. I'm not ready. So 3, 2, 1, refresh, and wait for it. Go! Okay. So, set a key. And okay. So, let's just get a little bit of a line of action in here. It's not going to be much. Try to get a little bit more of an angle to the head this time. Okay. So we've got that. Let's build in that hold right away. And then it turns. So you can see I'm already trying to spend a little bit more time. Oh shoot, I didn't set a key, no! I'm spending a little bit more time trying to work on the posing. Okay. We're 1 minute down. Oh, de l'énergie, j'ai besoin de l'énergie. Donnez-moi l'énergie. For anyone who didn't know what's going on there, someone mentioned in the chat, send your energy, and I was just mentioning that I need the energy. Give me anything you have, I need it. Okay, and then the body should have a little rotation too. Okay. So we've got that. Let's make that hold. How's this feeling? Okay. So definitely it's feeling a little bit more dynamic. We're 2 minutes in. Okay. So, oh no, I can't focus. Thank you so much, Justoni. Thank you for the sub. I really appreciate that. Okay. I need a breakdown here. So I need to lead with the chin. I'm so sorry. I want to go over your message, but I can't. Okay. So I'm having the head arc up here a little bit. Now, one thing that I'm already noticing that I could have done. Okay, let's break it down a little bit more. One thing I could have done to improve this already is add a little forward rotation to the spine. Right now, the character is so stiff that it's going to feel very bland. Okay. And then let's add a breakdown here. This is going to act as an anticipation for the head turn. And let's get that body to not just slide across evenly. Oh, too much. Oh no. What have I done? Graph editor, help me. Oh no, the graph editor is not updating. No. Maya betrays me. Dang it. Not working. Okay. See, we can raise the clavicles up just a little bit here. Up as they go. And then down, up. Okay, so I'm noticing that the head arc is just a little high and kind of awkward. So I'm going to try and break it down just a little bit more. Just to kind of get a little bit more of a hold up here. So he kind of turns and then drops that head. Versus before he kind of just floated through. Okay. The body is feeling a little flat. It's just kind of transitioning very boringly. So I'm going to just add a little bit more translate Y. We're going to feel it more than we see it, but should at least be in there. Okay. So I feel like I've got enough time. I could maybe try to add in a moving hold. And part of it's going to be, let's see. Yeah, so something like this. No, wait, this way. So I just want a tiny motion at the beginning so that the character doesn't just feel frozen. And then same thing at the end. We're getting just this slow twist. Let's tweak that. I think I can maybe add... I've got 3 minutes. Let's hold here. Okay, do I have enough time? I want to add just an extra little twist in here. So the reason I want to add another twist is because the ending was so long, it just kind of feels boring. So I want to just add an extra little like adjustment to the body. Okay. It looks like my copied pair didn't work quite right. Yeah, that's why. Okay. Turns. Copy that over. Okay. That's gonna look really, really bad the way it is right now. Okay, I've got 2 minutes. Let's get a little bit of a moving hold in here so it doesn't look terrible, terrible. Okay. Comes in. Move. Okay. The head. Rotate X. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute remains. Okay, I need just a little bit of a moving hold right at the end here. "38 seconds. I'm running out of time." Okay. Four seconds. 2, 1. Okay, that's it. So, so there we go. It's gonna look so bad. Let's play blast this. This is gonna be our 10-minute. Okay, so I honestly felt like I had a little bit more time than I anticipated. There were a few areas where it's like, oh, I think I can build in some extra things in there. And Yuan, thanks so much for the sub. Oh, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. And also, just Oni, thank you so much as well for the sub, even though I couldn't say it earlier. I really appreciate that you guys would do that. Thank you so much. So let me catch up with the chat here. And Tiki, bonjour, ça va bien? Let's see. Can I ask how you put the channel box and attribute editor on the side vertically? Oh, so if your channel box here is kind of just free floating like that, by default it should be on the side, but you can just click and drag and drop it right there and it'll dock it right in here. So now I've got the channel box right there and I can just kind of scale this down. Oops, and I think I docked it in the wrong spot. Yeah, there we go. So you just click and drag and dock it. And you can do that with a lot of different windows in Maya, which is really nice. So yeah, it's just a matter of dragging and drop. What was the challenge about defocusing time? Basically, it's just seeing how fast we can animate something in a certain amount of time. So we did in 1 minute, and then this was a 10-minute. Now the next one's going to be an hour, so 60-minute. Oh, and Zelima, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the bits. I really appreciate that. Just my way of saying hi, and I'm also curious what this program is. I really appreciate the bits. So this program is Maya. It is the industry standard for most animation, CG animation. But honestly, the program doesn't really matter. You could do similar things with Blender. Blender is an amazing program, also totally free. And for anyone who's new to this channel, the channel here is all about kind of showing animation, showing the process of animation. Usually we do demos and like kind of more tutorial type stuff. But today we're doing something a little different and having just this weird little animation challenge. Just to see how quickly we can animate certain things, and honestly, to see how bad it goes. That's the big thing. I want to see how bad it can look. Because it is important to laugh at ourselves once in a while. As much as animators, we always want to make like really cool looking stuff. Sometimes it's fun just to make something really stupid looking. So let's actually compare. We'll do the 1 minute and then we'll look at the 10-minute. So 1 minute. Still holds up. Like I said, I think this is Disney worthy. I'm gonna get a job there for sure with this one. Let's look at the 10-minute. So actually, this is just a good point. With that 10-minute, let's look at just that first pose. See how it's just a little bit more interesting? We were able to push the angle of the pose a little bit, able to just exaggerate a little bit more of the kind of anatomy of it. It's not great by any means, but just adding that little angle to the head makes a big difference. Now let's actually hit play and see what we've got. Yeah, oddly enough, it feels, at least to me, it feels worse than the 1 minute. And part of that is that there's motion for no reason. Because we were just kind of rushing through with the moving holds, technically we've got arcs in here, we've got a little bit more timing, we've got a little bit of kind of a adjustment at the end, and in those cases, yes, it's definitely better. Like the other one is so robotic, it's barely animation. But with this one, there is kind of a disjointedness to it that makes it feel hard to look at. And it's a few different reasons. One is the way things come to a stop and start moving feels disjointed. So as an audience, our eyes have a hard time looking at it. Two, the shoulders are actually distracting. The way they move up is taking away from the face. Also, the face just kind of feels, I shouldn't say the face, the head. The way it tilts up feels a little weird. But for 10 minutes, this is what we've got. It's a head turn. It works. It's not great, but it could be refined. So there we go. Now we get to do the actual, the one that I'm actually hoping turns out somewhat decently. We'll see how far we get into it. But yeah, I'm hoping this one, we get at least something that looks okay. So let's go over our game plan as I reset the rig. So once again, this is our 10-minute one. I'm going to just unload the reference and bring in a new copy so we can just work in the same scene. So bring in a new fresh copy of the rig. And I've got the timer set for 60, ready to go. It's not done to be great, it's done to be challenged. Exactly. That's the whole point. We're not trying to get like a polished piece here, but just to kind of go in and find out what works and what doesn't. Honestly, that's half the fun to me. So for this one, we're going to have an hour, 60 minutes. This means that we're going to be able to do quite a bit. Like you saw how much I was able to do with 10 minutes. It was not great, but we got a lot of the breakdowns in there. We were starting to work on holds. We were starting to work on arcs. So with that in mind, I would like to try and work in some extra things. So since we have an hour, I think I would like to try a basic expression pass. We'll see how much time it takes, but I want to at least put in some expressions. I'm hoping for a blink in there. Get a blink in there. Just basic facial stuff. The mouth probably won't move much. It's going to be brows and eyes and maybe like a smile because that's what we had in our reference. So just to kind of compare back. Let me open up the reference here. So a lot of this comes from the reference that I shot. Not that we're following it exactly, but just to kind of give us an idea. So I'm going to try to do something like this, where the character has an expression change and turn. We're not going to get close to, to any of that detail, but we're going to use it as a base. So we're going to try to do that. Expression. One thing I'm thinking of, and this could either work really well or really just like shoot myself in the foot. This is not something I would do normally when I'm animating, but I'm entertaining the idea. For the last one, I animated the hips and the spine in order to make the body move correctly. I could just animate this control. Because we're not going to see anything below this point, as long as I animate this correctly, it's going to look fine, and it's going to give me 4 less controls to deal with. Which means I could animate faster. The problem with this is that I have to be very careful how I work with my anatomy, because even though we're only seeing this, the hips and spine are moving underneath them. So if I'm just faking it, it could very easily look faked and just terrible. The other thing is, like, if this was an actual shot for a studio, I would never do that. Never, ever, ever would I animate just this and leave the hips just still. Unless the only time I would do that is if my deadline was so short, kind of like this, I had an hour to work on it and I just have to get it done. Maybe I would cheat it like that. The problem with cheating something like this, especially in the studio environment, is you never know what's going to happen with the lighting. Maybe there's going to be a shadow further out there, and if the spine is just twisting around and you see that in the shadow, it's going to break the scene. So I'm entertaining the idea, but I don't know if I'm going to try it or not. We'll see. I might use the cog here and then just use the IK spine instead. Yeah, I think I'll do that. That way we still get the hip motion, and then I'm just dealing with the IK spine to get some overlap and whatnot. And let's see, can I ask why the character is smiling for? What is the reason? Oh yeah, so what's the motivation behind the smile? So when I was shooting the reference, let me open up. I closed it all off. Dang it. So when I was shooting the reference, what was going through my head was that the character is just kind of not paying attention, just like very neutral, because I wanted a neutral position to start with for the character so that we don't have to do a huge expression change. And then I just wanted, as if he heard something, like a friend calling their name or saying a joke, and it's just like, oh, and there they are. So it's hearing something positive in the background. In my mind, it was kind of hearing a friend, but it could be anything. It could be like hearing the ice cream truck coming by and it's like, ooh, ice cream. Something that brings them joy. So while I was shooting this, I was thinking of a story in my head. And this is one of the pieces of reference I shot. I was shooting a whole bunch. And this is something I recommend that anyone, if you're shooting reference, even for something stupid like this, that's just going to be a challenge, think of a little story in your head. It'll make the reference feel a little bit more genuine. So even here, like, just, I get that extra little double look. It's not just turn, pause, but it's turn, and then there's kind of an extra little twist as I'm searching for the thing that made the sound. So that's basically it. So I think I'm pretty much ready to go. The game plan is going to be very similar to the 10-minute. Get the body mechanics in there. We're adding the face, at least a little bit. Basic brow controls. I want to try and get a blink in there. The big thing that I'm going to be concentrating on is getting good moving holds. Really getting the motions to read correctly through here. Pushing the arcs. Yeah, I think That's a good benchmark. I don't know how much we're going to do because I'm adding the face. It's going to add a whole bunch of extra time to this, but we'll see what we can get on the 1 hour. And apparently I can't just focus and not talk. So I'm going to be explaining a little bit of my thought process. It's not going to be super in depth, but anything that I feel like is worth noting, I will mention as I go through this. So I've got the timer reset. I think all I have to do is save it out and then it'll update. Let's deselect everything so we've got nothing selected. We're ready to go. And yeah, I think we're pretty much ready to start. So it's going to be 1 hour. So if anyone has questions, ask them now or else you'll have to wait an hour because once it starts, I'm jumping in here. Yeah. So with that, let's save. I'm going to save. I think it's going to reset the timer. If not, we'll see. I'm not going to do a countdown. So save. Go. No, it won't even select right off the bat. Okay. Set a key. Good. So same thing. Get the angle of the head. Shoulders. Down. Let's push those clavicles. Down. So part of this, and this is something that is always important when you're doing just any work in general, don't rush it. So as I'm doing this, there is this kind of natural, like, oh, I see the timer going, I've got to just fast, like just pump it out as fast as I can. That's not going to help anything here. If I just rush this and don't think things through, I'm going to get something that doesn't really look good anyway. So as I'm doing this, what I'm trying to do is focus on just getting clear, sorry, trying to find the control here. Just taking it slowly, relaxing, no rushing. In the end, I'm going to get a better product if I don't rush through it. And I just kind of take my time. I'm not going to be lazy about it and just super slow. But nothing's going to help if I just panic. Okay. I don't want him to look sad. I just kind of want him to look neutral. Like he's just bored. Okay. And let's go through here. Flatten that out. Okay. So we've got that first pose. Set a key. Our hold was about 13 frames. Okay, let's start building on moving hold in right away. So the character's shifting their weight ever so slightly. Screen. That's too much. Screen left. I just want a little bit of a shift here. A little bit of an up on the hip, so it's kind of moving in an arc. A little less. This is a moving hold, so I really don't want this to be much. And then let's kind of twist the spine. So we get just a little bit of motion in there. Okay. I can't get too precious about this. Now they turn, and where was it? I think we had it around like frame 31. So I want to keep the timing relatively the same. So now the character's head turns. I'm going to break his neck here, but I want to get the angle of the head in place, and then I can get the body to match. And let's kind of get the eyes looking over. Okay. I think that's good. Maybe a little lower on the head angle. Okay. Oh no, this song. For some reason, I feel like this song gets very high pitched. Okay. And then we'll turn the body slightly. A little bit more. Let's add a little bit more rotation. And let's get that facial expression in there. Oh, no. So one thing I'm doing while I'm trying to get the facial expressions in is I'm trying to keep track of which controls I'm using. I don't want to mix and match controls. So what I mean by that is I don't want to use the main moving controls, the big raising controls here, because I'm using the smaller ones. Normally I would use the larger ones, but it just gives me one extra thing to animate. Okay. So I'm not going to go super in depth on that face pose, but I do want to make sure that the brows work. And then let's reset this. Oh. Yeah, that's fine. Reset. Because there's going to be a blink there, the eyes are fine if I reset them like that. And they're going to be a little bit more open. Try to get a little bit of a interesting shape in there. I can reshape them later. And then let's kind of push the smile in here. So the big thing with a smile is just making sure you think of the anatomy of the mouth in the sense of when you smile, it stretches. So that means it'll go up. It doesn't just, the corners aren't the only thing that moves. It goes up. And then not only that, the lips get thinner because you are stretching your lips across your teeth. So if I just do something like this, that's going to help give a little bit more of that genuine smile versus just a rig smile. I was going to open the teeth, but yeah, we'll see if we have time. I might change that face pose. Okay, so we've got this so far. We've got 3 poses in here. Okay, let's make sure I select everything. And this is going to basically hold... Comes in 31. I want it to hold like up until, we'll do 36. No, 35. So this is going to be essentially a small moving hold. Hips continue over to the side. A little too much there. This is where the graph editor can come in very handy, because I can double check how much I'm rotating in comparison to previous poses. Okay, so here, for example, I want to just add a little bit more rotation there. Create this little bit of a moving hold. Okay. So they turn the head. It's going to keep turning a little bit. And then let's get to that last pose. Okay, so we're already at 10 minutes. Almost. Are we going to do it? Okay, let's get that last head angle. So I want the end to be like really looking over to the side. So we get that kind of look, and then he keeps going. Already I'm noticing the eyes are not working here. They should be a little bit more down. There. That way it feels like he actually looks in the correct direction here. Okay. Let's get that chest rotated. Actually, hips rotated first. Essentially, I need to make sure that the neck doesn't twist too far. Okay, we'll refine the rest later. Add a little bit more twist to the shoulders here. Kind of bring this back. I need a little bit more translate Y on the hips. So you should go up here and then down, down, and raise up a little bit at the end. Okay. This should be tilted more this way. Okay. So we've got that. Let's get this to hold a little bit longer. Maybe a little too much there. Okay. Okay, so we've got that. Would the GUI controls help? A little bit, but because I'm trying to go a little faster, it'll only help for certain controls. So I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so I've got my main keys in here. The next thing I need to do is start breaking things down just a little bit. So 1 to 13, that's 12 frames. Let's put it on 4s. Essentially, I want the beginning here to hold a little bit more. The other thing here that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to avoid using any plugins, because there are plugins that could help like make this much easier to animate, or faster, I should say. I personally want to try and avoid using those. Just for my sake, I think it'll be more fun to try and do it all manually. Okay, get this on 4s here. This should not go down here yet. Because that would mean that his body is reacting before his head. So he should keep going, screen left here. Get that moving hold in there. Let's try to push the arc a little bit. Okay, so something like that. And as he goes through, let's kind of add a little bit of motion to that head. Just a tiny bit, so it doesn't just feel locked off. Okay. So something like that. So we just get a little bit of motion. If I have time, I can add a little bit of something to the face. Let's get our core breakdowns in here. So I want him to blink first. That's going to be one of the important things here. So I'm going to go to the frame where I want the blink to happen. So I think... yeah, let's do it this way. It's going to be a hold a little bit. So I'm going to frame 15. That should be good. Let's mark out where the eyes are going to be closed. So right here, his eyes will be closed. Let's actually reset the eyes here. Okay, good. Boop. And then this way I don't have to deal with any weirdness. Boop. Bring those down. So he's going to close his eyes right there. And he's smiling, so he's heard something. So I want those eyes to stay closed for a while. Let's see, 15, 6... If I do, yeah, I think 21 should be good. Normally you only keep the eyes closed for 2 frames for a regular blink, but since I want to kind of keep them closed longer, I think we can go up to 6 frames here. And then they'll open up, and I want them to open up quickly. Right now they're taking way too long. So maybe 4 frames. Yeah. Okay. We're approaching the 20-minute mark. Even though this is more polishy stuff, I'm not a fan of just leaving the eyes like not shaped correctly. So I'll usually just go in and do a little quick adjustment to the lids. So do I want them a little bit more open here? Probably. Like most of the way. Okay. So now we have our timing for the blink. Whoop. And then I want another blink here, or at least maybe a half blink. So that's going to be, the hold is 35. Yeah, let's do it here. Okay. Blink. This one's going to be just a regular blink. So it's going to hold for 2 frames. And then open up. And I think just so it's a little different, I'm gonna make it open up into kind of this happy, like, so it's gonna be surprised and then kind of relaxed. Okay, we've got that, blink. And already just that is starting to add a lot of character to the character. Blinks add thought process. It makes the character actually feel like they're alive. So if you can put blinks in and in the right spot, not just random blinking, it has to be correct blinking. It really does add a lot to your characters. Okay, I just wanted to lower the brows there a little bit. Let's go through and I'm going to make sure I have keys on all my frames. So I can break them down correctly. Okay. So the beginning here feels good. Now here we start to get that reaction. So the big thing I want to do here is I want to make sure that the head doesn't start reacting super quickly. The eyes should be the first things to react here. The body should pretty much just kind of keep doing what it's doing. So what I can do essentially for the body here is to speed this up. I'm going to delete this key here, move this over, then rekey that. So basically what I did is the body was automatically starting to shift back. I made sure to offset it. So now the turn only starts over here. Now on this frame, everything is starting to turn all at the same time. His eyes are closed, but what should be happening is the body should pretty much just be holding in place. And we get the head turn starting. And even then, the head shouldn't be that far. Just gonna bring it down just a little bit. Have a little bit of a motion there. Okay. So you can see how that's starting to break up the action here. I can add little motions to the body to kind of build in some sympathetic motion. The hips are starting to move over, but they're also rotating. That's a little too much. So I'm starting to build in that motion, but I really want to favor the head turning first. Okay, this is going to definitely cause some issues there. So I don't know what was going on with that curve there, but okay. Too much rotation in the chest. So I'm just looking at the top of the head basically, and then the shoulders, making sure they don't move too much. Even here, I don't really need to worry about this. There we go. Okay. So now he's turning his head. I want this to be a little bit higher. Raise that head, let it lead. Also let the eyes lead the action. And I just realized I'm probably going to run into a big problem with the eyes, but we'll see. Right now, I'm not going to care about it too much. Essentially, the eyes follow the head. So I might get some motion that feels a little fake with the eyes. If it happens, it happens. Okay. At this point, the smile should start coming in a little bit more here. Actually, even here, I want that smile to really hit. So that smile is going to happen quick right through here. This is something that a lot of people don't quite get right when they're animating faces, is that they let things like smiles and whatnot take a long time. Smiles or anything with the face, really, it happens quick. It really is fast. These are fast twitch muscles. They really don't take time to react. The longer it takes to react, the more it'll just feel fake and it's just not going to feel realistic. It'll feel just weird. Okay. So let's see, what have we got here? Okay, that works pretty well. The brows here, I feel like could still be lower. I should have just used the main brow control. I'm spending so much time just trying to select these little controls here. I thought I was being smart, but I was not. I was bamboozled. I want to ease these out and then have them overshoot a little bit here. Oh, and I'm missing one. Okay. Okay, we're definitely missing some stuff in the later half here. Okay, so he turns. Good. This is decent. Not great, but we'll call it okay for now. Then here. I think this is where we're starting to run into some issues. Yeah, that's good. And here. The body's just moving too much. This feels like it's sliding. And the head kind of bounces too, which I don't like. Yeah, you can definitely see that bounce there. Okay. So let's see, we're almost at 30 minutes. We need more breakdowns. Okay, let's see what's happening here. One thing I need to do is I need to push the clavicles here. I think here they could be a little lower still. So they kind of drop before raising up here. It just gives a little contrasting motion. So as the head tilts up, the shoulders drop down. Okay, let's break this down. We've got areas that are way too large. So here there's 6 frames going through here. Let's break that down. I could do it on 2s, but I'm going to do it on 3s instead. Just to save myself some time. Okay. So right here, the big thing that I kind of want, and let's see, we just... Where's the shoulders here? Let's kind of push them up a little bit. Oh, too much. And then up a little higher here. So it kind of acts as like a small anticipation to the shoulders later on. So we just get that kind of little whoop. So because I'm dropping them, I want to anticipate with them a little bit more too. Okay. Let's tilt the head down just a little bit more here. Exaggerate the curve. Maybe a little bit more tilt to the head here. Just add a little bit more drag to that turn. A little bit more like so. Okay. I'm offsetting the curve here so that we start getting some natural offsets in the animation versus offsetting the timing of poses. Okay. So, turn. Okay, my rotate X of the head needs to be pushed a little bit more. Yeah, right here. So I've got 4 frames right there. Let's just insert a key here, because the other rotations are fine. And then I need a breakdown here. So this is again 6s. So let's put it on 3s just for the sake of speed. So this is where the body, I feel like I want the body to hold until the head starts to come through here. And let's actually tweak this here. That eye was bothering me way too much. Okay. So, right here. This is where I really want the body to start moving. Right now the body feels a little even. So that's the rotate Z and translate X. So let's tweak this a little bit. Let's hold this a little bit more here. So it's moving, but very little. That way we can focus on the head and the expression first. And then when I get to this point, right there, this is when we start to get that transition. This is a very important thing when you're animating, is try not to lose the expression change in the motion. If possible, try to exaggerate the motion so that you get a little bit more of a hold earlier. Okay. Did I not set a key on this? Yep, that's way too much. Okay. We definitely need some more breakdowns later on. Okay. So it's coming through. It's a little flat right here. That right here. This is feeling a little flat. Okay. Then we turn. I want the eyebrows to drag back here. I'm starting to get a little too much polishy detail here. I need to refocus after this. But essentially what I want here is that the brows should ease. So that way the lids lead, then the brows come through. They'll push down a little bit more. And then from there, let's not go quite so far here. We'll kind of hold a little bit, overshoot, and then move up quickly. So this is a little too slow, what's happening right here. But we'll kind of, yeah, that's, I could almost just hold that. And then in the middle here, just ease that. So we get that nice fast motion of the brows. Same thing with the mouth. Okay. So with the mouth, we get the brows, eyes, brows. The mouth should start to react here. I'm just going to offset this control one frame. So we get a little bit of reaction with the mouth there. Maybe a little too much there. Okay. There, and then the mouth should basically be in full position. Let's see, it starts moving on 15 by 18. Should basically be in place like that. And then let's just try to push a little bit of an arc in that mouth corner here. So I'm just going to have that mouth corner stay lower. Not too low. Just stay a little lower. So that way it goes out and then up. And then when it goes up, it's going to overshoot and then settle back. Actually, let's do it this other way. That's going to go through faster. And then this is going to be one frame offset there. It's not going to be much, but okay. We can refine that a little bit more, but we can deal with it later. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that the mouth is definitely moving a lot here, so let's try to avoid that. The mouth really should not be changing too much after it gets into position. Okay. I just want to grab one key. Okay. There we go. So we've got that. We're at the 40-minute mark approximately. How are we doing? We've got the offsets in the face working pretty decently. Now this blink here, we need to start refining this area. So let's actually play through, scrub through, see how it feels. I feel like we need something at the beginning here, just for visual interest. Kind of feels a little dead. Okay. The rotate X of the head is a little off. Yeah, right there. See. I think the rotate Y feels a little flat. It does. Let's exaggerate that a little bit. So I'm just watching the arc of the nose right now, trying to get that to read. Okay, so from there, what do we need? Eyes. Okay. I need to do a blink pass. So the blink pass, it's not super important, but it's going to help make the eyes feel a little bit more natural. And essentially what I need to do, make sure I select the right controls here, is I just need to make sure that they open and close in a decent way. So right now, see how the blink is super slow coming down? That's going to feel very fake. So instead, I want to just have a little bit of motion, and then I can either like really hit hard in here, where it comes in and just down, hits, and then keeps coming down a little bit further, pushes that pressure into the eyelids. And then let's ease that out a little bit. And then instead of just opening and snapping to a perfect open here, what's going to end up happening is the eye takes a long time to properly open, just because it's skin. It's got no real muscle to control it. So what I'm going to do is just ease that out a huge amount. So even here, you see how it just kind of slowly keeps creeping up? It's most of the way open, but we just kind of let it settle slowly. And I can even overshoot it a little bit. So it goes up and then closes ever so slightly. Let's do that for the other blink. So as it comes in here, this one I'm going to do a little bit differently, where the blink is going to happen faster. So it's just going to hit. But then even here, I'm going to maybe take 2 frames, push it down more. And then let it relax afterwards. And then open up. As it opens up, it's a little too slow right now. Actually, we'll keep it like that. But I do like the fact that it's taking some time right here. So you can see how long it takes to properly open up here. That's fine. There we go. Now let's just do a quick pass on the lower lid. This is polishy stuff, but because we're animating the eyes, I want to make sure I have a good pass on this, or else it's just not going to feel right. Oops, let's just go down. And then same thing here. As the eyes close, the lower lids will start to close a little bit before the upper lid hits it and pushes it down, creating a nice pressure. That's a little too much. Okay. We've got the blink in there. Let's get the body in here. Body and head. Okay. So, what are we dealing with here? This section is pretty much done, I think. This turn here feels a little off. I think partly is I'm not really leading with anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just for the sake of it, I'm going to tweak things up a little. Last time we had the head lead the action. What if, just for the sake of it, this time we have the body lead the action? So as he turns his head here, he kind of holds. And then here, you feel how that body starts to lead the action there? Doesn't mean that the body has to lead the whole action. Like the head could tilt a little bit maybe. Let's see, do I want to tilt it that way? Or that way? Something like that. And then let's drag the head just a little bit more, because right now it's falling into sync with the body. So I'm just going to offset this curve. Okay. See if we can push the body a little bit. It feels a little, yep, feels a little slow and dull right here. So you can see how this curve just feels a little flat. I need to put a breakdown. Exaggerate that motion. Okay. Something's going on here. I think it's my translate X. It just feels like the body just keeps moving too evenly. It needs to come to a little bit more of a stop here. Feel a little bit more of a hold. And then, yeah, just like that. Then the rest comes from the rotation. That way it's two different motions. One is a translation with a rotation, and then the other one here is mostly just a rotation. Essentially what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to build in variations. If everything kind of moves always the same way, it's always translating and rotating, translating and rotating, translating and rotating, it gets dull very quickly. But if I have it so that we get a little bit of a lot of translation here with a little rotation, and then here it's mostly rotation, we keep a little visual interest in there. Just a little. Okay. The moving hold at the end is not bad. I could try to exaggerate a little bit. Usually the thing that I find helps with like an ending moving hold is just making sure that all of the keys don't just ease in. So you'll notice how this key just, it eased in. So I'm making sure that that's a fast in this time. Now for this rotation, you can see it's just easing in. Well, what if this one was a little bit of an overshoot? It overshoots in. What if this one, so again, just a simple ease in. Maybe this one will just stay an ease in. If anything, let's exaggerate how much it eases. Right there. So now, instead of all three curves just easing in perfectly, we get a little different motion for each curve. And that creates that more natural kind of stop to an action versus everything just default ease. Beep, done. I hate that. Whenever I see that in my animation, it's just like I haven't put the time in to do something proper. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So at the beginning here, one thing that could help a lot is just adding an eye dart. So I think if we hold, he moves on frame 13. I don't want to put it right in the middle. So let's put an eye dart maybe on frame 7 to frame 9. We'll just have the eyes kind of dart over a little screen right. That way it doesn't go in the same direction that he's about to turn. And then just hold that. The blink. As he starts to blink, I do want the eyes to start kind of moving over. So we kind of feel that motion happening just at the start. Okay, the mouth needs to move up a little faster here. Move out, I should say. This motion is feeling a little flat right there. So I'm going to try to see if I can exaggerate the translate Y right through here. Through. The clavicles are feeling a little dead at the end. Maybe I could even raise them up a little bit more here. They're kind of bouncing right there. Yeah, I think during this turn, I'll just let them relax a little bit more. Let's see. Also have to double check that eye move right here. Make sure nothing feels weirdly out of place. It's actually not bad. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. We've got 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes. Let's see. What else can we add in here? So we have the eye dart here. Oh. Okay, yeah. Fine. I feel like I need something in the face. Like maybe just a slight drift of the brows. Not much. I'm going to tone it down quite a bit. But it just kind of feels... bland. You know, let's not do this. I'm running into counter animation territory. I thought I could do it so it would be quick, but I'm just going to run into more issues than it's worth. Let's actually select everything and build the drift properly. It's not I don't want the brows to feel like they're sliding, but I just want to have a little bit of an expression change in here. Just like that even. Something that'll keep the face alive. Oh, and I just saw that question. What is counter animation? Counter animation is when you have two controls that are doing the opposite thing. So let's say you have two controls, one is moving down, one is moving up, and they're both trying to like control one thing. Essentially what that ends up doing is making it so that you are just always countering yourself, always making it so that you're fighting a set of controls. There you go. I exaggerated the brows there a little bit. Okay. There's definitely something a little spliny right here. I think part of it is the way that the body moves right here. Feels a little flat. And I think part of that is because the head locks off. But I don't want to really change too much here. I should double check something here. My rotate X of the chest. We've got 30 seconds left. Essentially what I feel like is happening is something in here is a little flat, so I want to exaggerate it. Let's see. Okay. Last check. And I think that's it. So, there you go. Hands off the tablet. No more animation. Deselect. Save. And we'll play Blast. So, there we go. And A to the J, thank you for the reminder. We did it. We'll see if it actually looks good. Scrubbing through it seems okay. There's definitely some stuff I would fix. But it seemed, for the most part, like it was working. So, this is our hour. I should call it, yeah, we'll just call it hour. And play Blast. And I'll also make sure to open up the other ones too, because I accidentally closed them off. So, where are you? Okay, there we go. And then we'll compare. How much time did you do it in? 1 hour. So we did 3 versions. We did a 1-minute version, a 10-minute version, and then we did an hour version. And we're going to compare what each one was like. So this whole animation is 48 frames in 1 hour. Let's see. And let me catch up with the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. I don't think I missed anything. Let's see. And GM DeLuca, oh, I'm glad you enjoy watching the streams. I'm glad they're relaxing and informative. That's the informative part is the important bit, at least for me. I'm hoping people are getting something out of this and learning some new things. Let's see. I Lava Guava. Oh, that's an awesome name. I just started intro to acting and have no experience with the face yet. Is it smart to do some tests first? Yes. Regardless of what you're animating, I always recommend doing tests. It's just a good idea. Just do just like we did here, except without having to animate the whole body. Just animate just the head, and just do some quick tests. Even if it's just expression tests, just make an expression, see if it looks good. From there, make 2 expressions. Okay, animate between the 2, and see if you can make it look natural. Look at a lot of reference when you're doing that. Really pay attention to your reference. So I highly recommend it. If you've got time, do tests. Okay. So let's compare our animations. So we're going to look at the 1-minute animation. Beautiful. Still the best one, I think. I think of all 3, this is the clear winner. Like, really, how can you beat this? Okay, 10-minute. It's arguably better, but there's so many issues with it. Like there's wiggles in the body and stuff like that. It's just like, oddly enough, I kind of like the first one more. It makes me laugh a little bit more. Okay, let's look at the hour version now. Okay. Not bad. Like I thought, the body rotation here feels a little stiff. See how it just kind of pauses? It's like there's something in the rotate Y there that's just a little off. It's also the arc. So if you watch the eyes at the end. See how they kind of go back and then forward again? It's because the body is stopping too soon. See right here, the body stops rotating or stops moving, and it's only rotating in place. And because of that, the head now goes from going screen right to going screen left, and then kind of comes back screen right. So it does this little weird shift at the end versus just kind of coming back and easing, which would make it look a little cleaner, make it easier to focus on the face and the expression. It's got this little bit of a hitch to it. The shoulders kind of have a little bounce. I think I could smooth those out. So this right here, that anticipation could be a little slower. It just kind of ease up a little bit and then drop down. The pause in the body. Yeah, exactly. The pause in the body is looking weird. It just, it stops and like doesn't overlap properly. It's not great. Honestly though, it would be a quick fix to do that. It's just a little rotate Y and a little bit, I believe it's going to be the rotate Z, and maybe a little translate X, just a little bit. The shoulders at the end definitely need some more work. They kind of just feel stiff. That is partly because of the body, because the body's just going eh, and that we've just got the solo rotate Y. It's making the shoulders look weird. Once I fix that, all I'd have to do is add a little bit of keep alive to the shoulders and it'll be fine. Let's see, what else would I need to do? I could exaggerate the eyes opening up a little bit more here, right in this section here. Open them up a little bit more and then down. Yeah, definitely push the mouth arc. It's got a tiny arc, but we don't read it at speed, so it needs to be exaggerated. And it also needs a little overshoot. I actually do have some overshoot in there, but it's not reading. And this is the big thing. It's like, oh, I've got an arc in there. I've got overshoot in there. Technically, yes. But it's not reading at speed and on the shot, so it doesn't matter. What matters is what we see as the audience. So this is a very important thing. Like, especially I've seen students like when they first start out, a mentor will mention, oh, make sure to put this in their shot, and then they'll like message me and go, but I already have it in. Like, what's the problem? And this is the problem where, yes, I technically have these overshoots and arcs in there, technically. But because we don't see it, it doesn't matter, so we need to exaggerate. When someone, a director, for example, tells you to put something in there, it means that they're not reading it. So even if it's in there, we have to make it read. So that's something I really need to push. I feel like the eyes here at the beginning, I know what it is. It's because I didn't have the control set correctly. He's supposed to kind of just be focusing off into empty space right here. But his eyes are just locked in his head. So let's go full screen here. So he's doing this and his eyes are just totally locked in one place. If I kind of look at the camera here and I drift, see how my eyes continue to look at the camera a little bit? Even if I'm a little defocused and I start turning my head, my eyes don't follow my skull perfectly. And what's happening in here is we've got that translation happening and the eyes are focused perfectly. Like they are glued in that skull. And it's making that little motion. It's not much. It's just here. It feels dead. We don't want it to be sliding around, but it needs to have a little offset so it feels like he's looking at something and not a puppet. Let's see, what's the best way to create better flow between poses when animating so it doesn't pop? Breakdowns. That's usually the best way. Really adding more breakdowns, thinking of what leads, what follows, really pushing your posing. That's the big thing. If you're getting pops or a weird flow, it usually means that something in the breakdowns aren't working. See, I kind of want to see a reaction before the smile, like what snaps him out of his trance. Yes, that's definitely something we need to see some reaction. He's smiling here, but what's causing it to feel like it? In the reference, I mentioned that he heard something, or when I was shooting the reference, I mentioned that he hears something. So we need to push that. And there's a few different ways we could do that. One of them would be having him react on one side sooner. So if he hears something on the right side, we might see a little bit of a flinch. So right now, everything kind of reacts at the same time. We might get a little bit of this side coming down lower sooner than the other side. That tells us that he's heard something on this side and he's turning to investigate it. We might even have a little tilt of the head first. Instead of letting the face react first, let the ear lead the motion here. Just a little bit. It's not the actual ear, but the tilt of the head starts to turn, then he blinks and finishes the turn. That can push him to feel like he's hearing something versus seeing something. I was just going to say it looks like he leads by hearing something. Yeah, so we can exaggerate that. We want that to feel like he is just a little bit more interested. Yeah, there's that hitch in the body is weird. It really is screwing things up. Let's see. I've got about 20 minutes left before I'm going to have to get going for work. So let's see what we can do. So we need I drift right there. What else do we need? He needs to hear first. Drift is weird. There you go. What else? The ending. Yeah, the ending feels fine for now. Okay, shoulders. Yeah, that was the other thing. Ease out. Oh yeah, and then the mouth. Arc and overshoot. How will I get the sensation of hearing something? By letting the head react first. So if you hear something, your ears are going to be the thing that kind of, like in real life, it's usually the eyes that react first, but in the animation, to make it seem like he's hearing something, I'll have the head tilt just a little bit sooner, and then he blinks and goes. We'll see how that feels. Basically, we want the ear is kind of like, huh? And we get that reaction first. His hand's not going to be there, but like we want that. I think Aristocats has a great scene with this. With I think his name is Edgar, the butler, where he's listening to something and he hears something about the will that the lady is going to make, and his ear just goes whoop as he's listening. I could do something like that if I wanted to. But let's exaggerate this here a little bit. So I'm just going to have the head start turning a little bit sooner. Translate Y. Sorry, rotate Y. So right here, one frame before the rest of the reaction. Or maybe, let's go 2 frames. Okay. So we'll lead that. And let's try to exaggerate this pose here just a little. Okay, I need to just ease this a little bit more. Oops. Okay. see, is that gonna read? Nah. I do like it, but the thing is, I feel like I'm gonna have to work a lot more to get it to read. So instead, we'll go with the other plan. So we're gonna have a little bit more head tilt here. So we start to turn a little bit sooner. Like that. But then what we're gonna do is have him start to react with the eyelids a little sooner. So give one more frame here. And start the reaction on the one side. So something like this. Maybe that's a little too much. But you can see how one eyelid is starting to react first. Ever so slightly. And then as we close the eyes, we can exaggerate this even more. And then the same thing with the eyelid, or eyebrows, I should say. This one can drop down just a little faster, whereas the other one is going to ease just a little bit more. They're still dropping, so we're not offsetting them so they move independently, but we exaggerated just enough so that we get that nice little overlapping motion. Where's the brow control? Okay, good. And there, the brows need to overshoot a little bit here. They're a little, like right there is flat. The other thing that's happening with the brows is the inner controls need to arc. So what I mean by that is he's closing his brows here. But the center doesn't move. As you bring your brows down, the inner brow tends to close in a little bit. So let's kind of build that in there. That's going to add a little... Oh, I'm getting a pop in that one brow right there. Boop. I'm going to have to tweak that. So that's going to add a little bit of an arc in the brow. And then when he kind of brings his brows back up, I can build that into an arc as well. Just a little bit. Okay. Let's fix this one. We go too far. And then I'll go to the pause because that's definitely the area that we need to tweak. Okay. I could also offset the inner brow by one frame right there. So just as an example here, offset that by 1 frame. And that creates a little bit more of an organic motion in there, where the inner brow starts to react sooner. Now in this case, this depends on your character. Like when you raise your brow out to this side, as if you're looking to the side, that's the outer brow leading. So I could offset it, but it kind of ruins this section right here. So I'll probably just manually kind of push the offsets. That way I have a little bit more control. Okay. Let's get that stop working because that's the big one. So I needed rotate and then translate here. So what's happening? The body stops and then it starts to move forward here. And I think part of that is right here. This motion right there just kind of kills it. And then right in here, let's keep this moving a little bit. I'm just going to take these and I'm going to try scaling it up. Just so we get a little bit of more continued motion right through there. Let's look at our translate Y. Okay. Comes through. Oh, I think it's the chest. Where is it? It's this one, I think. Which is... Okay, no, that is the cog. It's that rotation right there. And okay. I wonder if I'm going to lean into it a little bit. What I mean by lean into it is I'm getting this offset and I could try to just tweak it out completely. But just for the sake of argument, I want to see if I actually try to work with it. Can I make it work? I think I might be able to. Because then it'll give a little bit more than just a... what's the right word? Just a slow ease. We're going to get something a little bit more dynamic. I kind of want to see if I can lead with the shoulder here. Just out of curiosity. Okay. Let's actually, while I'm thinking of the shoulders, let's actually fix that too. So that needed more time, so let's just do that. Just like so. Add a key in the middle just to push the ease a little bit more. Maybe hold a little bit longer at the top. Hits down. Okay. See how that feels. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to think how I want to exaggerate the curl of the mouth. I think I just need to overshoot it a little bit more. So let's bring it back down. Further out too. So it comes out and then around. And that's going to help push the arc in both ways. And I could even anticipate the corner here. So let's kind of push that down a little bit. Technically, the mouth wouldn't really do this, but we can exaggerate. Okay, it's popping a little bit out right there, so we'll ease that. And then the other thing we have to watch out for right here is that the lip is just slowly, both lips here, they're just slowly easing into their shape, like a tight shape there. It needs to happen much faster. Like here, this should be already pretty much all the way. Okay. There's still something weird with that translation, but let's see. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to try turning on cache playback. Okay, it's working. Yay. Usually it doesn't work for me. Okay. So we'll let this play through. And then this way we can kind of solve anything without having to do another play blast. Okay. Okay, the mouth is feeling a little better. I feel like it's a little sharp. I need to ease one of the keys a little bit. That's going to be like just offsetting 2 frames. So let's actually do that. The corner here. The way it kind of settles right in there, I just need to offset a couple of frames. So it's just a little bit more subtle, a little bit more soft. It's still hitting a little hard. Yeah, I just need to have it come in a little bit more. Okay. Okay, still needs work, but yeah, fine for now. The translation feels better. There's still a little weirdness, but now it doesn't feel like he's wiggling. It feels a little bit more motivated. Yeah, we'll call it for now, because I do have to get going pretty soon. So, hey. So, there we go. An hour for a head turn, and plus change for a few small tweaks. But, there you go. So, we did it! Yay! Hopefully it was interesting. I don't know how useful this was, or how much it, like if it was actually that useful to watch. But yeah, that's the challenge, and we ended up with something that actually worked out decently in the end. Even if we watch it, this is a good test. How does it look from a different angle? And it's not bad, surprisingly. I can definitely see that I'm missing some forward translation, so I'd add a little bit of rotate X to the hips, just so as he's turning, we either have him do something like that or turn back. So that would be easy enough to add, just a pass on the rotate X. But yeah, it's not terrible. Definitely his legs would need a little bit of work there, but yeah, not bad. Not great, but at this point it's just polish. So yeah, you see how the shoulders kind of feel disconnected right there? I just need to tie it in with the neck a little bit more. Because he's doing this big motion, you'd feel some sort of motion in the neck right now, because he's doing this and they're just alone. It almost feels like he's just flapping his shoulders versus kind of motivating a turn. Let's see. Yeah, that turn, like looking from the back to the front, it still feels weird. I need to, because it's a double turn here. It's him turning and then having another little turn, but it's not reading correctly. So I need to either smooth it out and get rid of it, or push the hold so that we read that as a separate hold before he turns his head again here. And then we really feel like that turn goes through. And then the other area is, yeah. So it's pushing this hold just a little bit more. I wonder if I can do that super quick, just as a test. let's kind of get rid of the facial stuff because that's just going to get in the way. Okay, so he comes in here and I need to hold 35. Before he finishes there. I don't know if that's going to do it. Essentially what I did is I just added a little... Yeah, that's going to be too much of a hold. I'm just trying to add like a few frames of a hold. Yeah, there we go. So now you get that little pause, hold, and then turn. Now things are a little offset right now because I just did the body and I didn't do the head. But yeah, that definitely feels way better already. It's a little thing, but it kind of motivates it. It's still weird. It's still not quite right. Let's see. I think part of that is I should have moved the head as well. So let's do that. And we'll see if that can... Yeah. Yeah, that feels better. Needs work, needs to be refined and tightened up a little bit. But having that little pause makes all the difference. And we can basically push the pause so it's even like just a little bit more of a pause and less floaty. And this actually just leads to a good point. Whenever you're animating, a lot of times what can make an animation feel weird is not the motion per se, but the lack of stop. The fact that everything is just continually moving. The motion itself might be correct in the sense of anatomically and physically, it's all working. But because something isn't stopping, it's not pausing, when you just run one motion right into the next, it makes it feel weird. It makes it feel like it's like what was said in the chat, like a pigeon, or like it's just weird. It feels unnatural. But then you go in your animation, you're scrubbing through, and it's like, but it works, and it's there, and it's like, why? It's all supposed to work. Try adding a pause, a little bit of a break between motions, so the character can have a time to reflect, breathe, and then go into it.